Hey, it's Matt from the podcastsetup.com. I just launched a new podcast called Matt Has a Podcast About Podcasting, and I'm hosting it on Buzzsprout, today's sponsor of this video. And I was chatting with my friend Albin at Buzzsprout, and he was saying, hey, I'd love to have you do a video on Apple's new HLS video podcasting functionality, of which Buzzsprout supports. And we got to talking. I was like, it's probably best, instead of me just making a random video about HLS video podcasting on Buzzsprout, is to actually host a new HLS video podcast on Buzzsprout. And we're going to cover the 5 things that I learned going through that process and a little bit more about Buzzsprout throughout the rest of this video. All right, the first thing I want to hit on before we get into the 5 things that I learned is a little bit more about HLS video and what that means for podcasters, especially now that Apple has officially entered the ring to video podcasting. They announced it a while ago, which I covered on the podcastsetup.com newsletter, but Apple is a behemoth in the tech space, right? I mean, lots of people have iPhones, iPads, lots of people use Apple Podcasts, and the Apple Podcast app is actually getting really good. I use it as my second daily driver to Pocket Casts. Video podcasting is a big deal these days. When most people talk about video podcasts, I think really what they're talking about is YouTube channels. Apple has had video podcasting for a while. It's just always been in a separate RSS feed, and files have been massive. And what Apple's doing is expanding on the use of their own HLS technology, which they published as an open technical specification back in 2017. And what HLS does is takes big video files and really chunks them down into tinier pieces. But I don't want to explain it to you. I enlisted AI, of course, to explain it to you. So here's a combination of Claude Code and something called hyperframes that I prompted to help better explain HLS.
Regular video hosting is like delivering the entire pizza at once. HLS delivers it one slice at a time, adjusting the size to match your internet connection. That means faster playback, less buffering, and smoother video podcasts.
Big pizza, little slices. I can't eat the whole pizza. I can't ingest the whole large video file. For years, when you hosted video files through RSS, you were delivering these big files to the end user, and it wasn't really efficient. And of course, HLS does help that. All right, let's talk about the 5 things that I learned launching this HLS podcast on Buzzsprout. Starting with number 1, you need to have at least one episode published first when making that connection to Apple. So this is the first time that obviously I'm launching Matt Has a Podcast About Podcasting, the new podcast. And it's the first time that I've used Buzzsprout. And it's a fantastic experience. It's easy, it's intuitive, and they have all of the support that you need right inside of the app as you're setting up your podcast. So you won't miss any of this stuff. But there were a few little gotcha moments where I was like, oh yeah, this is a brand new podcast. These are the things that I need. In order to distribute to Apple and all of the other platforms, again, which Buzzsprout makes very easy with one click, you need to have at least one episode. So the first thing that I did was I recorded my episode, but I was like, wait a minute, it's not enabled yet in Apple. I can't upload video until I'm actually connected to Apple. So I created a trailer episode first. So if you're launching your brand new podcast and you're setting it up on Buzzsprout, create a trailer episode first. 1 minute, 30 seconds, 3 minutes, whatever it is in your world that you need to create that trailer. And that's what I did. Created that 1 minute trailer, uploaded it to Buzzsprout, and then I clicked on the Apple Connect and Spotify, and I went down the list and submitted to all of the directories that Buzzsprout makes it so easy to do. The second lesson that I learned, again, not having done this before and doing this for the first time, Apple not only you have to wait to get your show approved and you can claim it and do all that fun stuff, but there's a whole new approval process, which says it could take up to 2 days for the Apple video feature to become available. I assume there's a human on the other end checking it. Otherwise, why would it take 48 hours? AI could probably do that really quick if they wanted to. But it took me about a day and a half to get that approval done from Apple. So just keep that in mind. If you're launching your video podcast and you're trying to hit a deadline, and as long as it's not tomorrow or in 48 hours, you'll be good. I did talk to Albin about this because I was surprised by it. And he said sometimes it could take longer. So just, make sure you have all your ducks in a row and you have plenty of time to launch that podcast. All right, lesson number 3 that I learned in the Buzzsprout app. Again, they make it dead simple to upload this stuff. And there's just one place to upload the file. And one of the things that I asked Alvin, I said, well, I don't really see a spot to do my audio podcast. I don't see a spot to do my video podcast in terms of uploading the files. Just one place, just drag and drop a file right there. And he said, no, if you just upload the video there, behind the scenes, the Buzzsprout platform takes that and transcodes it into HLS video for Apple and the audio file so that people can subscribe and listen in their favorite, audio listening apps. And I said, well, I would really like to edit my audio file so it could be different than the video. I'm still an audio purist, just from an easier way to edit and manage podcasts. And he said, unfortunately, because of the way that Apple and Spotify both handle video, it needs to be the same exact file so that the user can flip-flop and listen to the audio version or watch the video version. So one file, at least at the time of this recording, you upload your video file, and then Buzzsprout handles the rest. Lesson 4. Video files are big. This is one of the things that we always tend to forget when we are making a video podcast or adding that video component to our podcast. My first episode, which is about 20 minutes, recorded in Descript, which is what I'm recording this in. The file is about 2.5 gigabytes, 2.2 gigabytes, something like that. So, it doesn't take a whole heck of a lot of time, probably a couple of minutes to upload. But if you're, accruing all of these episodes across, you're a season of podcast, you're going to come up with a lot of file storage. One recommendation I would have is to compress and optimize the video file before uploading it to Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout's going to do that anyway in the back end, but why not save their own processors a little bit of compute time? I use an app called Handbrake to optimize the video file, and it'll compress it a little bit more. You can probably do that out of Descript, but I like to export that as high quality as possible and then use something that's made to compress video files while retaining quality as much as possible, like Handbrake. And that'll really shrink down the video file probably to a few hundred megabytes to upload to Buzzsprout or wherever else you might be distributing your video podcast. And lesson number 5, Buzzsprout handles a whole heck of a lot more than I had originally anticipated and actually forgot about creating a whole new podcast again. Hey, it's Matt from the future. Realized I forgot a couple of things, so I just want to pop in here and edit them in. So one of the things that I really love when I was setting up this new podcast, having forgot all the things that go into setting up a new podcast, great website tool for Buzzsprout. Do I wish they had a few more themes and that maybe I could customize it a little bit more? Sure, but they're not trying to be anything other than just a great utility website for the content that you're publishing. Oftentimes, I think when we have a lot of customization features, especially me being a WordPress and a Ghost guy, there's a lot of customization. You can kind of get lost in that, and then you never launch the site, or you're never happy. You're always tinkering. I think Buzzsprout keeps you, focused and right on task. The second thing I love that they integrate into the website is the fan mail feature. I'm going to be using this as a way to have folks apply to be a guest on the show. So if that's you, you can actually send a voicemail to the website. It's matthasapodcast.buzzsprout.com. And you can send me more about your, venture in podcasting, how you set up your podcast, etc. So really like the website, really like the voicemail feature. There's a bunch of other things that you can do. Of course, for the directories, that was super easy. I talked about that earlier in the video. One-click submission, that's great. Stats, the podcast just launched. I'm not expecting anything, crazy here, but it is nice, clean, and easy to understand. But the other thing that I really enjoy from the Buzzsprout side is automatic transcripts. That's awesome. And you have a chapter builder here, which was really great. Now, it is a manual process to go in and set those chapter markers. On this one, though, I use an Express chapter editor, or what they call the Express chapter editor, where I copied the chapters out of Descript and pasted them in. I would love, since they are automatically doing transcripts already, to have automatic chapters happen right alongside the transcripts, and maybe that's a thing to come. So really, really great tools and very easy. I'm not getting lost in any of this stuff. I'm not scratching my head going, where's this, where's that, and how do I just get this thing published? And I think that's exactly what you want if you don't want a whole technical overhead of managing some kind of like spaceship of a podcast control panel. All right, back to the video. Okay, wrapping up. I'm excited to launch a new podcast, of course, and I'm excited to start trying out a video solution that isn't just YouTube. I do a lot of YouTube stuff for WordPress, obviously for this channel. And I'm excited to see, like, what does Apple do for the podcast, for the true indie podcaster? That's me. Like, I think there's a world where an indie podcaster means like they're still a celebrity. They're just not signed to like an agency, or there's some, sports celebrity or news anchor and they're indies, but they've had their time to shine in the fame spotlight. I find myself the true indie podcaster. And of course, Buzzsprout helps us get there with their new video podcast hosting. So check out Buzzsprout if you want to launch a video podcast. Heck, if you want to launch an audio podcast. No one's saying you have to have video in podcasting these days, especially me. Check out Buzzsprout.com. Thanks for sponsoring Buzzsprout this video and the podcastsetup.com. They've sponsored the podcastsetup.com for the rest of 2026. Really excited about that. If you want more podcast stuff, check out my newsletter, the podcastsetup.com. Subscribe there. Thumbs up if you like today's video. Subscribe to the channel if you want more. Leave a comment below. Let's talk about HLS video podcasting on Buzzsprout.